Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the of the MMA Corner Breakdown and Prediction Show. As tonight, we are going to give you our thoughts and predictions on UFC 173, Barao versus Dillashaw. Tonight's episode is brought to you by BattleBomb, the only pain reliever with the knockout power. BattleBomb.com. Check them out. Audio for tonight's episode is powered by Soul. Power, clarity, comfort. Soul Electronics. Get you some. I'm your host for the evening, Josh Davis, alongside my co-host for tonight, featured columnist at the MMAcorner.com, Jason Shelkey. Jason, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing well, my man, and I know this is nothing MMA related, but today marks 1 month since my last cigarette, so feeling better and better every day.
Well, while it's not MMA related, it is MMA related, because if you're going to be in the sport and all that kind of stuff, you got to be healthy. Now, I will say this: I know a lot of fighters who smoke and all that kind of stuff. So, to each his own, really. But congratulations on 1 month. I think that's excellent.
It's the MMA Corner lifestyle, my friend.
It really is. It really is. Now, before we get started. Breaking down the show and getting everybody's thoughts, Jason has one more announcement to make.
Yes, tomorrow night, starting at 10 Eastern Time, we will be live streaming, starting at 9 Eastern Time. 10 Eastern Time. Yes, 10 Eastern Time, we'll be live streaming Call of Duty Ghosts with UFC flyweight Scotty Jorgensen. And along with me playing alongside of them, there's also going to be an opportunity for the fans to play as well. So if you have an Xbox One, you have Call of Duty Ghost, come get some.
Now, again, just to clarify, that is 10 p.m. Eastern Time.
Yes.
Okay. 9 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. on the West Coast. So those are your time for tomorrow night's events. But definitely check it out. It's going to be interesting. I know I'm going to get in there and whoop some ass on both of you guys. So I'm excited for it. But with all of that being said, we do have a UFC event coming up Saturday night. One that's kind of gone, I don't know if I want to say under the radar, because it's not really under the radar. But it is one that not everyone's talking about, and I think that's sad because it is a solid card. There is a lot of stuff going on with this card. But, Jason, give us your thoughts.
Man, I love this card. I don't know why it's flying underneath the radar so much, because there are a lot of great fights on this card that do have huge ramifications in the divisions. I mean, you got a great lightweight fight coming, between Barner and Krause, and you got a, welterweight fight that has huge title, winner could easily get a title shot, and just top to bottom, I mean, it's a very, very, very good card. And, I mean, it may not have the star power headlining it, but, for those of you who've been watching him, bro, you know that he's a beast, and he is something special. Really is. He's one of those guys that if you haven't been watching him, you need to be watching him.
And I don't know how you don't consider Renan Barao a star. I mean, he's the kingpin of one of, if not the most exciting division in MMA. So I don't understand how he's not a star. He's a beast. Again, he hasn't lost in almost 9 years. He's done things that very few other fighters have been able to do. He truly is one of, if not the best pound-for-pound fighter out there right now. So in my mind, he is a star. Now, T.J. Dillashaw might not be the best opponent for him, but he might be. Who knows? He could come out and shock the world. That's what's so great about MMA. Then the co-main event, Cormier versus Henderson. The winner of this fight is likely to get the next title shot after Gustafsson, obviously. So there's a lot going on there. Then you have Robbie Lawler and Jake Ellenberger. Again, if Robbie Lawler puts a stamp on Jake, there's no way he's not getting another title shot at Johnny Hendricks. And if Jake is able to come out and put a beat down on Robbie, then boom, he is immediately in that mix. Even though he is coming off a loss, still, if he puts a beat down on Robbie Lawler, boom, he's right there. So there's a lot going on with this card. And you brought up James Krause and Jamie Varner. I know you recently had the opportunity to interview James Krause. That should be on the site tomorrow, so definitely check that out. But Jamie Varner's fighting for his UFC life. Let's just be honest. He's lost back-to-back fights. He's lost 3 out of 4 inside the octagon, losing this one, and he's done. So you never know how someone in that position is gonna show up. So again, from top to bottom, this is an exciting card. And then there's solid prelim fights. You know, Mitch Clark against Al Iaquinta. I think that's going to be a solid fight. Chico Camus and Chris Holdsworth. That is going to be an exciting fight. I can guarantee it. There are other exciting fights on this card. So definitely, from top to bottom, I like it. So with that being said, let's get into it. Main event. Opening the night is going to be James Krause versus Jamie Varner. Jason, start us off. Give us your thoughts.
Now, I know I've said this before, but I've been following James Krause for a long time since he was fighting the regional circuit in Kansas City for Titan. Incredibly nice guy, tons of potential, tons of talent, and he's got a wealth of experience now. And like you mentioned just a few seconds ago, Jamie Varner, he is fighting for his UFC career. And that is what I believe will be, the biggest thing going for Varner in this fight. Because he's going to be going in there with absolutely nothing to lose and everything to gain. And Krause, he's, well, I'm not going to give away too much of the interview. You'll have to read it tomorrow. But he definitely, he is in this to win this big time. And we've seen in his previous few fights that Krause has finally started to utilize his range, utilize his length that he has at lightweight, and really put it to good use and dismantle his opponents. But, however, we have seen that, especially on the Ultimate Fighter, that he does have, a suspect chin if he gets punched hard. And Jamie Varner can punch. So I think the key to this fight is Krause has to use his range, use his jab, and use that to set up the takedown and get Varner on the ground and use his superior ground game, his jiu-jitsu, to control the wily veteran on the ground. And I don't know if he's going to be able to get the finish, but I'm going to take Krause by decision.
I don't disagree with you. I like Krause in this fight. Let's see, in his last fight, his loss to Bobby Green, that snapped an 8-fight win streak that he was on. Krause has some skills, and if he's able to use his length and his range in this fight, I like his opportunities. I like him if this fight goes to the ground. Again, he can use his long limbs to create submissions that other people can't. So he has a lot of ways to win this fight. Varner, on the other hand, like I alluded to, is on the 2-fight losing streak. He did have the split decision over Melvin Gillard before that, and then lost to Joe Lozon before that. So he has not looked good since the beatdown he put on Edson Barboza. When he returned to the octagon, to the UFC, he looked great in that ass whooping he put on Edson. But since then, he hasn't looked good. I do think his best days are behind him, and right now he finds himself in a position where if he loses his fight, not only does he lose his job with the UFC, this could be the end of Varner's fighting career. He might get picked up on a regional circuit, but honestly, he probably won't. He's not that big of a draw, and he's going to want more money than he's actually worth. So he finds himself in an absolutely must-win position. However, with that being said, I still don't think he gets it done. I like Krause in this fight. I think Krause is coming into his own, even though he did lose by the body kick in his last fight. I just don't see Varner doing that. I don't think Varner can get in close enough to test his chin. I think Krause will be smart enough to keep the fight on the outside, clinch when he has to, and if he wants to, maybe get a trip or a takedown, something to that nature. But again, I think this is Krause's fight to lose. So I'm going Krause. I actually think he'll probably get a finish in this fight. I'm going with either a second or a third round submission. All right, moving
And
right.
just a note,
Just a note. Sorry.
just a
Jump
note
on in
before
here.
we move along. I'm sorry. Even though it was ruled a TKO from a body kick, let's all face it, it was a kick to the sack. He lost to Bobby Green. I mean, we all know that's Bobby Green's most dangerous weapon is a kick to the balls. So even though it was ruled a body kick, if you watch my video interview that I did with James Krause a couple of months ago, you know it's a kick to the balls.
Hey, what I know and what's recorded in the history books are not always the same thing. However, uh, what what I get a report, again, has to go with what was recorded. Yes, it was a kick. It was a total kick to the ball sack, but that's not how it was recorded. It was recorded as a TKO loss to Bobby Green by a body kick, and again, we could go back and forth. Should it have been a no contest, all that kind of stuff. But the fact remains, unfortunately, he's now 20-5 because of a body kick TKO loss to Bobby Green. Now, with that being said, I don't know what else to say about it. I feel bad for James, but it is what it is. We move on. We move on. We got Takeya Mitsugaki versus Francisco Rivera. This fight intrigues me. This is one of the fights that I'm looking forward to most on the card, not because it has a lot of implications in either place, because it really doesn't. But both of these guys love to come out and swing. They both love to bang, and they're going to stand in there and trade punches. It has all the makings for an exciting fight. Now, usually when people match up as solid as these guys do, when you have two great strikers or two great wrestlers, whatever, some other aspect of fighting has to take over for whoever to win, because usually the skills will neutralize themselves. And I think that's what we'll see here with the striking is yeah, they're going to want to stand and bang, and that'll probably neutralize itself. I think the key to this fight is going to be Mitsugaki in the clinch. I think he's going to be able to control the clinch. I think he's going to be able to control this fight if it goes to the ground. If he chooses to take Rivera down, I think he will be able to do so. I don't think Rivera is going to have the same options. I don't think Rivera will be able to take Mitsugaki down. I don't think Rivera is going to be able to outwork Mitsugaki in the clinch. And so unless Rivera is able to clip him and get a TKO or a KO victory, I think he's going to be on the wrong end of this fight, and I think Mitsugaki will find a way to grind out a 3-round decision.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, except for the only point I wouldn't agree with is that it really does that the fight doesn't have any implications in the bantamweight division, because I mean the winner of this fight could easily be boosted up the rankings and possibly get a shot at the winner of the main event, especially if it's Hen Barao, because he's kind of destroyed the division. But with that being said, I do like Mizugaki in this fight. He's a solid fighter. He's well-rounded, even though he doesn't have that one-punch knockout power that Rivera has. I think he just has, I hate to say it, but octagon generalship, to steal a term from boxing, to outpoint Rivera in this matchup. Rivera, he's going to have to land that knockout blow if he wants to win this fight. But Mizugaki, he's an incredibly seasoned veteran. He knows how to avoid all that. He's going to stay close. He's going to, not stay in the pocket and swing and bang. He's going to use his clinch work. He's going to use the ground game. And I'm right with you. I see him getting a decision victory in this one.
Well, and you bring up some good points. Mitsugaki, he's on a 4-fight win streak, gets this victory, and if you look at Mitsugaki's last 4 fights, this is definitely his toughest competition as far as I'm concerned. He lost to Chris Casario, then he beat Jeff Hogland, beat Brian Caraway, beat Eric Perez, and beat Nam Phan. Those guys are nowhere near the level of Hen and Barao, and so I don't see, even though he again has won, and let's say he beats Rivera, again, I don't know how you go from fighting that competition all the way up to fighting Renan Barão. Now, again, Renan Barão has rolled through the division. There's not a whole lot of options for him, and you'll get my thoughts on that later on in the night when we break down the main event. Now, as far as Rivera goes, he's won 5 of his last 6 fights. He's actually won 6 of his last 6, but the one fight was changed to a no contest after he tested positive for a banned substance. But he did knock out Roland Delorme. So he is rolling through everyone. He's got 1 decision in his last 6 fights. He's either KO'd or TKO'd everybody else. So he could make a case, but again, George Roop, Edwin Figueroa, Alex Soto, Antonio Duarte, Brad McDonald, not really fighters that are on the same level as Renan Barão. So I'm not going to say it doesn't mean anything, because you're right. The winner of this fight, who knows, could definitely get the winner of the main event. But I like it more because, again, they match up well against each other. They're going to bring an exciting fight. But with all that rambling being said, I do think Mitsugaki does get the decision victory. However, I would not be surprised if Rivera was able to get in there and test that chin and get a TKO or a KO victory. But I think Mitsugaki's going to get it done tonight. Moving on. All right, we got Jake Ellenberg versus Robbie Lawler. We'll start with you, Jason. Give us your thoughts.
Man, I love this fight. I think that this is the fight that you have to watch on this card. If for anything else, it's just going to be fireworks. Because both these dudes, they come out, and they're going to bang. They're going to come out, they're going to throw punches, they're going to be looking to decapitate their opponent. It's just going to be, it's going to be a great, great fight. And I mean, we know Robbie Lawler is just coming off his loss against Johnny Hendricks, and that's after he was coming off 3-fight winning streak over Josh Koscheck, Bobby Volker, and Rory McDonald, who Jake Ellenberger lost to. So, I mean, I think Robbie Lawler, I think he's going to get the win in this fight. I don't know if he's going to be able to get the knockout because Ellenberger is a tough guy. I think it's going to be a long, grueling 15-minute battle, but I do have Robbie Lawler coming out on top. I just think that this is still his time, despite his loss to the current champion, Jimi Hendrix. Johnny Hendricks, sorry. Yeah, Jimi Hendrix, yeah, he's dead. Johnny Hendricks. I still think that Robbie Lawler is still in that phase of his career where he can make a legitimate run at the title, and he proved it against Hendricks. Even though he was on the losing end of the decision, I think that in a rematch, he stands a really good chance. And I like his chances in this fight against Jake Ellenberger. And so I'm going to pick Lawler by decision.
I always like Robbie Lawler's chances. The guy, he's throwing cinder blocks. So if he hits anybody, I like his chances. Now, in this fight, I think he puts a beat down on Jake Ellenberger, just to be honest. Jake Ellenberger is a solid fighter, but I certainly don't think he's the elite fighter that everybody else says. I think he's a gatekeeper to the division. In my mind, Nate Marquardt, yes, you heard me right. Nate Marquardt is his biggest victory. Let's look at his victories that he has in the UFC. He comes in, he loses to Carlos Condit. He beats Mike Pyle, beats John Howard, beats Carlos Roca, beats Sean Pearson, beats Jake Shields. So you could go that one, but Jake was coming off the death of his father, that kind of stuff. I don't put much stock into that fight. But if you wanted to argue Jake Shields, I wouldn't disagree with you. Diego Sanchez loses to Martin Kampmann, beats Jay Huron, beats Nate Marquardt, and then loses to Rory McDonald. Where I'm going with this is here. Every tough fight that Ellenberger's had in the UFC, he's lost. He lost to Rory McDonald by a jab. That's all Rory did that whole fight was throw out that jab. And Jake had no answer for it, and Rory was able to win a very ugly, horrific decision by throwing a jab all night long. If Ellenberger comes out with that same type of mentality, Lawler's going to put him to sleep. And I think Robbie wants to prove to everybody that he deserves another shot at the title, that he should have beat Johnny that first time. So, yeah, I think Robbie comes out, gets off quickly and puts it on Jake. I think and I do think he can knock, and I do think he will knock Jake Ellenberger out. I think the only way Jake gets a victory in this fight is if he is able to put Robbie on his back and control position, and I just don't see him doing that. I think Robbie's improved his wrestling enough to stuff Ellenberger's takedowns, and yeah, he'll be able to keep this fight on the feet where he wants it, and he's going to get the victory. So I'm going Robbie Lawler by first round finish or early second round finish. I don't think this fight's going to a decision. All right, moving on. We got the co-main event: Daniel Cormier versus Dan Henderson. Jason, start us off on this.
Well, first let's start off by getting this out of the way. Dan Henderson is a 9-1 underdog in this fight. I don't know if I'd ever put Dan Henderson as a 9-1 underdog ever. Granted, he is on the downside of his career, but he still has what Mauro Ranallo coined as the H-bomb. He has that right hand that can put anybody to sleep if he connects with it. But with that being said, Daniel Cormier he was really good at heavyweight, and I think he's going to be even better at light heavyweight. We didn't get to see too much given his opponent in his debut against the Batista. And so this is going to be his biggest fight at light heavyweight, needless to say. And in Henderson's last couple fights, we've seen his chin be suspect. Of course, he was knocked out by Vitor Belfort. He was hurt multiple times in his second fight against Shogun. And I think that age is catching up with Dan Henderson. After the Shogun-Henderson fight, we all kind of agreed it was time for Dan Henderson to ride off into the sunset because he has been through so many wars. He's in his 40s, and he's entertained us enough. He's been in enough wars. And I think that this is just going to be a fight that Daniel Cormier just steamrolls him. I got Cormier. I think he's going to knock him out in the first round. I don't think this is going to be anywhere close to being competitive. And even though I wouldn't put Henderson as a 9-1, he has the puncher's chance, and that's about it, in my opinion. Otherwise, I think that Cormier flattens him.
And that's right. He has the H-bomb. He has the puncher's chance. But I have to agree with you. I think Cormier comes out, bull rushes him, and steamrolls him in this fight. I don't give Henderson much of a chance other than the fact that he does have the H-bomb. But, Cormier's bigger, stronger, faster, quicker. He's the better athlete. While Cormier's up there in years too, he's no spring chicken. He still is younger than Dan Henderson, and I think the wars that Dan's been in is catching up to him, and I think Cormier's going to come out and put a beat down on Henderson. Is he a 9-1 underdog? Who knows? But I will tell you this: I certainly don't like his chances in this fight. I think Cormier will get a finish in the first round. All right, main event: Renan Barão versus TJ Dillashaw. Really, what can you say about Renan Barão? He has rolled up everybody that he's pretty much ever faced. The guy lost his opening fight of his career. Then he had a no contest in there because he hit someone with an illegal soccer kick. But other than that, he has pretty much whooped everybody he's faced. And honestly, in the UFC, he's never even really been tested. Michael McDonald maybe tested him a little bit, but once Barao decided he was done with that fight, he turned it on, and that was that. Uriah Faber didn't phase him either time. He's walked through everybody that he's faced, and honestly, I don't think this will be any different. I like TJ Dillashaw. I think the kid's got a lot of talent, worlds of potential. He's just not on Barao's level. I think we have seen the best TJ Dillashaw. I think we know what his cap is, so to speak. With him and Barao, we have no idea. This guy has just whooped everybody that's been put in front of him. I think it's now time for him to whoop on TJ Dillashaw, and then think about moving up to 145 pounds. I know that Jose Aldo is the man there right now. However, I do see Jose moving up to 155 pounds here in the near future, which would give Renan Barão the opportunity to do so. But I think that's what's going to need to happen for this guy truly to be tested. I think at 135 pounds, he's going to continue to whoop on everybody. I don't think there's a 135-pound fighter on the planet that's even close to Renan Barão right now, and I think he's going to walk through Dillashaw. Jason, give us your thoughts.
You know, when you're watching UFC broadcasts, you hear Joe Rogan call a lot of people an animal. But when you're talking about Renan Barão, this dude he just exudes violence when he enters in the octagon. This guy, he is just a wrecking machine. And you nailed it right on the head. There is nobody in this division that is going to be able to beat him. I mean, TJ Dillashaw, he's fairly young in his career. I'm sure he's going to have a great career, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to start Saturday night. He's going to go to 10-3 because Renan Barão is going to steamroll him, just like he has, Uriah Faber twice, like he has everybody that the UFC has put in front of him. And I completely agree. After this fight, what else is there really? We talked about Mizugaki Rivera. That really interests nobody. 45 has to be the next stop for him. Maybe you put together, they find some fight to put together, keep him at 35 until Aldo moves up to 55, or maybe they move Barão up to 45 and have him fight Jose Aldo. I don't know. I don't know if they're teammates or whatever, but it'd be fun.
They are teammates and training partners, so
yeah, I'd still like to see it though. Split up the camp, whatever. Anyway, yeah. I'd like to see Barão move up to 45 as soon as Aldo makes the move to 55, because I think that Barão would face much better competition and have more competitive matchups at 45 than he's able to get at 35. Because right now, we're both in agreement, nobody's stopping him at 35. He's going to just steamroll whoever the UFC puts in front of him.
Now, I will say this. Dominic Cruz, before he suffered all of the injuries and that kind of stuff, the multiple knee injuries and then the groin tear, I would have liked his chances against Renan Barão. I think he would have posed matchup problems for Renan. His bouncing around, never standing in one spot style, I think really would have posed fits for Barão. But again, think about Dominic. He's going on 3 years that he hasn't fought. That's insane. You're not going to come off of that type of layoff and step into the cage and be the guy who's just been outclassing everybody. It's not going to happen. But he gets healthy, he comes back, gets a couple tune-up fights, and gets back to the form that he once has. Then again, he presents a matchup against Renan Barão that again, I like his chances. I'm not saying that he's going to win that fight, but I do like his chances again because styles make fights, and the matchup problems that he would present for Barão would be interesting. And I think Cruz would be the guy to actually test him so we could see where Barão really is. But since that fight, or meaningfully that fight's not going to happen anytime soon, yeah, I think he's got to move up. All right, Jason, give us your final thoughts on UFC 173.
I like this card top to bottom. I think the three fights headlining the pay-per-view are going to be steamrolls. Except for maybe Lawler Ellenberger. That fight could maybe go a little bit, but I mean Brow, Cormier, going to steamroll. Lawler probably. I think the other two fights are going to be really fun to watch. But all in all, another week, another solid UFC card, man. I mean, they keep on giving us more and more fight cards, and the next week we get 2 more on the same day. So they just keep on cranking them out, man. Cranking them out. So definitely, I'm going to pull Joe Rogan. Buy it on pay-per-view!
Yeah, the UFC certainly is fan-friendly right now. They're putting on a lot of quality events. They're not overexerting the fans with pay-per-views. They are putting on a lot of free shows. So kudos to the UFC. Now, UFC 173, Brow versus Dillashaw. This is going to be an exciting card, guys. There are a lot of good fights on there. And I agree with Jason. I think the top 3 fights are going to be ass whoopings, but I do think they're going to be exciting ass whoopings. I think we're going to see highlight reel KOs, finishes in all 3 of those fights. So I am looking forward to it. I will go back to Chico Camus and Chris Holdsworth. I do think that's going to be an exciting fight. Chico, love that kid. He always comes to fight. Is he the most talented fighter out there? No, but he always comes to bang. He's definitely got a lot of skills. He's good everywhere the fight goes. Is he elite? No, but he is good everywhere the fight goes. And if they stand and bang, it'll certainly be exciting. And Holdsworth's going to have to work his ass off to get this fight to the ground, to get the submission attempts that he needs to get the victory. So I certainly look for that to be an exciting fight. And then don't sleep on Michael Chiesa and Francisco Trinaldo, the headline of the undercard. That also should be an exciting fight, obviously, Chiesa being a former Ultimate Fighter winner. So definitely make sure that you guys are checking it out. Now, immediately following UFC 173, tune in back here because we will be giving you a live recap of the event immediately following. Now, until then, remember that this show is brought to you by Battle Bomb, the only pain reliever with knockout power, battlebomb.com. Definitely check them out. Audio for tonight's episode was powered by Soul Power, Clarity, Comfort. Soul Electronics, get you some. I am Josh Davis. For Jason Shelkey, until we see you Saturday night, keep living the MMA Corner lifestyle.